What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the NYG Blue Zone. That's right. It's time for our weekly therapy session. Another Sunday and another loss. I'm Atticus, and yesterday the Giants lost another close game, just like the Chiefs did, but they got better coaches. This time we lost 27 to 20 to the Green Bay Packers at MetLife Stadium. It was the debut of interim head coach Mike Kafka. It was also Tim Kelly's first game as the OC, although Kafka called the plays, and the return of Isaiah Hodgins wearing number 89. He unexpectedly started and led the team in receptions. For this game, there was some positives, but the same old defensive issues continues to show. So let me start here. Mike Kafka's first game at head coach, it looked different. Not perfect, not dramatic, but different in a good way. For the first time in a long time, the Giants sideline looked like a professional football team. There was no screaming, no blowing up at the refs. And let me be clear, I am not opposed to blowing up at today's referee. But no headsets went flying. There was no tablets being thrown. Kafka coached like a professional. He was the steady presence that you want leading your team. Also, he showed a much more aggressive philosophy than today's Brian Dable. 25 Brian Dable was not the same as 2022 Brian Dable. Even through that crazy win, he still tried to push the ball down the field. He trusted his play calling. He trusted his players. He ain't coach scared. And he was running the team while he was calling plays. Now, aggressive play calling does not automatically translate to wins, especially with a depleted roster. But the energy, the structure, the discipline, it was all a little better under Kafka. In fact, I didn't know this, but I was wondering why was Tamon Fox starting outside linebacker instead of Abdul Carter? I later found out that Kafka benched Abdul for the first quarter anyway for disciplinary reasons. I don't have any more details, but it sends a pretty strong and clear message when your number one draft pick, who is a phenom in and of itself, is benched on your debut as a head coach. He sent a message to the team. Get your shit together and you will play. And I'm not mad at him for that. And even through all that, I'm sure he was a little nervous. But he was overall pretty poised. Put it like this. I saw nothing from Kafka's debut to suggest that he was in over his head. Nothing. And that's a good place to start. Now, he got some areas where he can improve, but nothing said, oh my God, this is horrible. This is dreadful. I didn't see any of that. So, but I want to talk a little bit about the offense, Hodgins' return, the running game, and some of the positives we saw in that regard. One of the best performances, which was a surprise for me, was Isaiah Hodgins. I didn't even think he was going to start. I didn't think he'd be fully integrated into the offense yet. But not only did he start, he led the team in receptions, 5 for 57 yards, and 4 of them were on third down conversions. He ran good routes. He had good hands. He immediately had chemistry. He looked like the guy who helped carry us in the 2022 playoffs. And that's what the Giants were hoping for. That's what the fans were hoping for. And Isaiah Hodgins delivered. And I got to say, the tight ends also played well 2 weeks in a row. Belly and Theo, they continue to be a huge part of the Giants passing game. 2 weeks in a row, they were solid. And this week, not only just in passing, but they were solid in run blocking. In the running game, it actually looked pretty damn good. Tyrone Tracy Jr. had 88 yards. He averaged like 4.6 yards a carry. Moda had 44 yards and 2 tutties. They look good overall, which means the offensive line was creating rush lanes. And in addition to the rush lanes, the running backs were finding them. So I was very pleased with that. There was definitely better blocking up front, more commitment to running the ball. There was more rhythm. You can feel that Kafka was trying to have a balanced approach to their offensive attack. And he wasn't going to abandon them run just because they fell behind on the scoreboard. And Jameis Winston, he was, Jameis Winston. He's gonna give you some good play, and then he's gonna give you some stuff that make you scratch your head and like, what were you thinking in that moment? He made some dangerous throws, which doesn't surprise any of us. But the one turnover he had, believe it or not, it wasn't even his fault. Jalen Hyatt, he just continues to put on this campaign to be the most unreliable, worst wide receiver in all professional sports. How do you stop on your route while the ball is in the air? I mean, Hodges is here for 2 days and outshines and outplays him immediately. I'm just so over carrying these trash ass players. Like, enough is enough already. I guess I should also mention that Winston had a strip sack at the end of the game, but the Giants was in desperation mode. I don't blame him for that. Shit happens, whatever. But overall, I thought Winston played a tough game. The dude didn't play a single snap this year. He ended the game with 228 passing yards, a 65 completion percentage, and he had a rushing touchdown. He moved the ball. He kept the offense functional. And honestly, with the state of the roster right now, that's about all you can ask for. You think about the fall off in performance when Russell Wilson came in for Dart, and you compare that to what happened when Winston came in. There's a huge difference in production. We still looked like a functional football team with Winston at the quarterback position. I'm not mad at what he did for us. Now, I definitely want to talk about the defense. There was a couple of positives. Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence. But we still got the same result, right? So let's start with Brian Burns. He's just a monster. He got 2 more sacks, bringing his sack total for the year to 13. This man is playing like an all-pro. He also had 4 quarterback hits, by the way. He's the only person on our defense who shows up every single week in a consistent way. He is my way too early vote for the defensive player of the year. Dexter Lawrence, he looked a lot better this game. He had more pop off the line, more push. He was more disruptive. And when he plays well, it changes everything for this defense. I mean, he still didn't have any sacks, but he was winning his reps this game. And that's a good sign for him because I think he needed this to get back to his old form. It's a little late in the season for all that, but I got to give credit where it's due. Dexter Lawrence had a much better game yesterday. But the real problem is the defense cannot hold leads. Now let's get to reality. And this is the sticking point for me with this team. The defense can't hold a lead. They consistently collapse in the fourth quarter. They could not stop the run. They are not good in the red zone. They were not on third down. This is why the Giants lose these games. It has nothing to do with Kafka. This has been happening all year. Think about this. Last season, the Giants offense averaged 16.1 points per game. This year so far, they're putting up 21.7 points a game. Last year's defense, they gave up 24.4 points per game. This year, that number is up to 27.3. With an objectively better roster, the Giants dumped a ton of resources into this defensive group, and they have somehow gotten worse. Yesterday was another textbook example of that. The Packers got into the red zone 4 times, and they scored 4 touchdowns. Not a single stop, not a single field goal forced. That's not bend but don't break. That's bend and break on repeat. The Packers went 7 of 11 on third down. That's 63.6%. In the NFL, that is a catastrophic number. That keeps drives alive. That drains the clock. That puts Winston on the field needing to be perfect, which we know he is not. What's crazy is the Giants dominated time of possession. They had the ball for 35 and a half minutes, and the Green Bay Packers had it for 24. And they had no takeaways, no momentum changes, no short fields. There was no spark. Secondary still shaky. Tay Banks played better. I got to give him that. He really did. But he still gave up a touchdown. There was still coverage breakdown, still late reaction, still too many open Packers receivers on key downs. And Dobbs and Watson dropped a bunch of passes. It should have been much worse, believe it. It should have been. Basically the same defensive collapses we've watched all season. And again, this is not Kafka's fault, but it most definitely is his problem. He inherited a broken defensive structure that can't execute basic situational football. And he can't fix that in 6 days. He probably should have fired the guy on day one, but he stuck with him. Now what is he going to do? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And then Hyatt and the other wide receivers, like Hyatt is so frustrating. Hodgins played well, but Hyatt just continues to struggle, and I mean really struggle. His route running is trash. He gets no separation. He's not winning contested catches, and right now he's not playing like an NFL caliber starting wide receiver. I'm sorry. There's a problem because the Giants are relying on guys who are not producing in key moments, and we've seen this all too often this year. More so on defense, but we've seen that on offense as well. So here's my bottom line. Kafka's debut as the head coach, it was encouraging. Not perfect, but definitely not catastrophic. I didn't feel in any way like, oh my God, this is just going to be nightmarish. I still felt like we could have won this game against a team that completely outmatched us in so many ways. I felt like the Giants could have won. His leadership is pretty steady. His play calling, it was aggressive the way I wanted it to be. The offense showed rhythm. There wasn't a tremendous drop-off with Winston that I think we would have seen had it been Wilson. Hodgins gave us life in the receiver room. Dexter Lawrence showed up yesterday. Brian Burns is just out of his mind this year. But overall, the defense continues to collapse in the exact same ways. Red zone failures, third down failures. They're not causing turnovers. They're not finishing. And until that changes, the Giants are going to keep losing these one-score games. And I don't care who's coaching. Still, this felt different. The energy was better. The culture was cleaner. And Kafka deserves more than one game before anybody judges what he can do as a head coach. So that's going to be it for me today. But guys, I want you guys to drop a comment. I want to know, did you see improvement? Do you like what Kafka brought as the head coach? And who was your player of the game? Do you think it was Winston? Do you think it was Hodgins? Do you think it was Brian Burns? Or do you think it was somebody else? I want to know what you think. Share your thoughts with me. I'm your boy Atticus. This is the NYG Blue Zone. Go Big Blue.
Yeah, a lot of girls probably crying from my old high school. Look, they see me everywhere they go. I probably would too. Look, crossed over to the Jordan men like I'm Michael. Yeah, eating blessings so much I might need lipo. Yeah, tailored for the doves like I'm walking in chucks. Yeah, it's just in this plan, man, I see all y'all shook. Look, knew that I was great ever since I was a rook. Man, all y'all singles making me look good. Okay, praise to the Most High, yeah, that's Jesus. Look, but when it come to this rap thing, I can't lose. Yeah, back-to-back number ones, that's a thing greats do. Yeah, tell them boys that ain't nothing I can't do. It's my year. It's my year.